Hello friends and enemies, welcome to or back to Happy For Now. It's me, Isabel, here with my February reading wrap-up, highs, lows, stats, all that good stuff for you. I am so happy February is over. It was such a long month, and I feel like I should have enjoyed how long the month felt a little more because I know the next 2 months for me are about to fly by, but it's fine. We're getting there. Either way, I read a lot in February, honestly. I'm really proud of myself for how much I read in the last month. I did a lot better than I ever expected to, and that's a joy, like truly a joy. So let's dive right in to those stats for the month. I read 19 books, which is great. I did read 19 books in January too, so like I'm happy. That doesn't include my manga. That'll be in the manga log. That accounted for a total of 5,010 pages read. My average rating was a 4.3. I listened to about 33 hours of audiobooks, and that is sped up. So like I listened to a lot of audio this month. I read 7 books from the library, which is fantastic. And then for age demographics, it was 18 adult titles and 1 young adult title. Format-wise, it was 5 ebooks and 14 audiobooks. Not a surprise. I do tend to lean pretty heavily into audio, and I don't feel like I've been listening as much as I normally do, which is kind of wild to think about the fact that I still read 19 books and felt like I didn't listen to that much. Let's dive into my lows because I do have 2 that I'm not talking about. So one of them was a DNF from a publisher I'm not speaking about on my channel, and another one was a just disappointing continuation in a series I really like. It was like a novella situation. My hold came in, I read it, and I was like, at some point when we have clear action from St. Martin's Press from the request, obviously I will do a video where I talk about the St. Martin's titles I read. But for now, that's where we're at. The DNF one, I may revisit at another point as an ebook. I didn't love the audiobook of it, so that's why I DNF'd it. So it's like a soft DNF. The other low I have is a don't not read it low. This is a like, this title gave me so much serotonin to read and like dopamine, and I loved it. And then I read the book, and if I hadn't have gotten an audio arc, I don't know if I would have finished it. Like, I truly don't think I would have finished the book if I hadn't have gotten that audio arc. So that is The Cock Down the Block. This is in my NetGalley vlog. I talk about it there. I think it's like the second book I read in that vlog. But I, by chance, got approved for the audiobook of this. And I was like, okay, we're going to just listen to it immediately because it's not that long. And I feel like this title is so fun. It has so much promise as a title. And the art's really cute, like it's good art. And I think I just left it not aware of the contents within. I think I wanted it a little more fleshed out at the end of the day. I think I wanted it to lean into the humor of the title more than like millennial humor. And I'm a millennial, and it just had like kind of, I don't know. I'm not like anti-cringe either, like I could care less. But yeah, it just was kind of meh overall. I do still want to read the next book, which is like The Wiener Down the Way, because it also sounds fun still. Like, I think these are just those books that, like, now that I have my expectations set, they will not be as memorable or as enjoyable as the title makes me want them to be. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's talk about surprises. I actually have 4. What is going on? Anyways, that's fine. I debated. I think it was a hard choice, to say the least, to pick my surprises and highs this month. But Stars in Your Eyes by Case and Calendar, another ARC read that I did. This book was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I have so many feelings about this book. This book, it's celebrity romance, which is not my jam. Like, I don't really read celebrity romances unless May is like, you have to read this because she's the biggest fan of them. I just am not a celebrity romance person. Give me money, I don't want the attention. Like, I know that sounds weird as somebody who has a content channel, but like, I have a channel to talk about books. Like, you know, give me money, not attention. This, for me, wove in such beautiful world-building narrative around these 2 characters and their growth around their experiences being actors and being gay. And we deal a lot with some childhood sexual assault and PTSD around that and a lot of other things. And I just think, I don't know, I was rooting so hard for both of them this entire book. And I was so happy by the end of it. So that's kind of where I felt with it. I just was so thrilled with them. I think they felt so real. Like, they felt like somebody I could meet off the street. And I deeply appreciated that. So Case and Calendar killed it with their adult romance debut. Then I read Sinful Vow by Asia Monique. I put this off forever. Y'all were right. You were right. I was so scared you'd be wrong, which is why I put it off forever. And honestly, once I read a couple more off of my KU, I'm going to binge check out book 2. Like, I cannot wait. But Sinful Vow was such a fun twist on your typical mafia book. Like, it provided something so different than I ever expected. So like if you pick it up, go in knowing you're going to get this really interesting twist about 30% into the book. And I think that makes the book even better. We have a really strong heroine, a really great hero, very much a like, we're going to prove them wrong situation. And they do just that in like the best ways. Freaking loved it, y'all. Like, it's so good. Then we have Canadian Boyfriend by Jenny Holiday. This is another one that I think I understand every single critique I've read of this book, okay? But for me, I have never felt, it's been a long time since I've read a book with eating disorder representation that I really resonated with, that I really enjoyed. And I thought this was really fun. I mean, yeah, there's a couple things where you're like, how did nobody go, hey, isn't that to her? Because basically she ends up dating the guy she fake wrote her diary to as a teen and pretended to date. Then that's like part of their confessions. But for me, this one really revolved around two people healing together and to be together through that healing in a really great way. Because he's a widow. He's taking care of his daughter who's like upper elementary, middle school-ish. I can't remember her age. I've forgotten her age every single time I try to remember it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I was just really surprised by how much I enjoyed it. I didn't expect to. I think it has a lot of heavy topics, but they're handled with a lot of care and respect. And overall, still just a really fun time. Every Jenny Holiday book, this is my second one, has always been fun. I will say that. I've yet to read a Jenny Holiday in which I didn't find it fun in any way. My one biggest pet peeve was I kept calling him Mike Martin the whole book, which is his name. But like, can we just call him Mike? We don't have to call him Mike Martin. It's fine. I know who you're talking about. You can just say Mike. But yeah, that was my biggest pet peeve. My next surprise was a TikTok rec, and that was Make Me by Summer O'Toole. And this is a surprise because, as I've talked about, this kept me up till like 1 in the morning. Not something I've been doing lately, something I've honestly actively been trying to avoid as a reader, is the overnight stay up all night reading a book, because I never feel great the next day. It's still worth it. It's still worth it. But I never feel great the next day. So I'm just like, okay, this is like kind of very much a mediocre 3.5 star book. That doesn't mean it's bad. That doesn't mean it's amazing. Like, she literally, this book, she can't, like, she stalks him, and she stalks him so badly, and it's hilarious to me. I was giggling the entire time I read it, and then I was like recounting it to friends and giggling the entire time I explained the plot of this book to them. You know, it's just one of those. And then just everything, the ways in which it kept escalating, and then she'd backtrack and be like, but what if you are who killed my friend? The whole plot is that she's trying to figure out who killed her best friend. Like, she witnessed it but got knocked out. And we take a lot of twists, turns, U-turns, like, just all over the place in this story. And it's not bad, like, by any means. For a book that I kept getting wrecked on TikTok, this is really good. And I don't believe all book talk recs are bad recs. I think you have to be able to like discern out what works for you and what doesn't. Just like when you watch BookTube or any other platform where people wreck books. But yeah, so I really think that part alone is like freaking hilarious, because it just is such a bonkers book. It's so bonkers. And I love a good bonkers read. Like, I'm gonna read the second book here. I've actually picked it up and started a little bit of it. So like, I'm sold on this series about this family of brothers who are all in the Irish mob and like acting a fool, to be honest with you. But yeah, it was so weird that I was so surprised by it at the end of the day. It was very funny. Also, he knew she was stalking him, and he like just made it easier on her, because why not? Plus, like, okay, listen, I do have a soft spot for when the man gives the woman money, like lots of money, and she just takes it, no fuss. Absolutely. As you should. As you should. All right, let's talk about my highs for the month of February. Oh, I actually have this one physically. I can hold it up. Look at me. Oh my God, it's like I'm a real booktuber with books. I feel like this is something I rarely do, because like I buy books. Don't get me wrong, I buy books, but I buy more manga. So, The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. This is my first ever Lana Ferguson. Should I read The Nanny? Let me know in the comments. I know The Nanny is not Omegaverse, but I did not expect to love this book. I didn't expect to love Bride either, and I told myself I had to pick between the two, so I went with The Fake Mate, because I think this one surprised me the most. I thought I would like Bride. I did not expect to enjoy the way Omegaverse was incorporated into a traditionally published book as much as I did with this one. They're both doctors. She needs a fake boyfriend to get her grandma to stop setting her up on bad dates. He needs a fake mate so that the board doesn't fire him for being an alpha without a mate, and they decide to fake date, and it is so good. Even the third act breakup worked for me because it made sense. He is a very soft alpha, we'll call it. Like, he's protective of her, and he doesn't want other people near her, like other men and stuff necessarily at times, and like does get protected, but he's also like very reasonable. And I enjoy that immensely, honestly. I think it was so much fun to read about the two of them falling in love and like going from friends with benefits, well, fake dating, friends with benefits, to, oh no, I really, really do like you. And she like chews him out when she finds out what he did for the third act thing, like why they broke up. And it just overall was a fun time. It incorporated a lot more Omegaverse elements than Bride does. So I think if you read Bride and you're curious, but you're not ready to dive into the deep end yet, The Fake Mate is your book. This is the book for you. Absolutely the book for you. So I think pick it up if you can get it from the library or something. This was really fun. I love this. And I've critiqued this cover. And I still bought this book. I critiqued this cover because, again, I don't think it screams shifter romance or Omegaverse. But lots of animal references on the back, though. I guess to indicate that it's shifter. But I could see somebody picking this up and being very surprised. But this surprised me so much. I had so much fun with Mackenzie and Noah. I'm excited. I want to read more from Lana Ferguson. This was just way more better than I expected. Okay, next we have another high/big surprise. I enjoyed Dating Dr. Dill. I did not love Dating Dr. Dill. I had issues with the nickname of his like junk, but overall, fun story. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was a good and inspired retelling situation. Tastes Like Shakar. I love this book. I've still been thinking about this book since I finished this book. So like I think that says a lot also. I don't always like linger on the books I finish, but Tastes Like Shakar I've lingered on some more. I've thought about moments from that book multiple times and just been like, I loved them. I love Ben and Bobby. They were just so fun. This is one of those books that I was hopeful, obviously, that I would love. We have a plus size heroine who's a little bit shorter also, which adore. Love to see it. And curvy. Like, you know, we love to see it. This had such a fun setup for an enemies dislike to lovers also, and them having to work together to plan their friend's wedding, basically. It was fantastic. Lots of banter, lots of build-up and tension that paid off wonderfully, though. Like, it didn't take too much. Ben, like, caretakes for Bobby a lot, like, bringing her food or having food delivered to her and things like that, I just really loved. I think it was really fun. Solving the mystery of who was sabotaging was really fun. All around, this was just a blast, and I did not want to put my audiobook down. So, like, I just feel like if you didn't love Dating Dr. Dill, you should still try this one, because you might like it a lot more than you expect. I definitely left it very surprised and happy. And then last but not least is Megan, which is another book I just read, and honestly, still lingering in the mind for me. And this is by Rebecca Weatherspoon. I love Rebecca's writing. I actually need to, like, make a list of what I haven't read by her and start, like, my journey back through her backlist, because I need to read all her books too. And it's a shorter backlist than like Christina C. Jones. Like I probably could actually accomplish it. I was just talking in my comments for my last vlog where I read Megan, and I do want to give a caveat here. So this is book 3 in the Loose End series. I do think it's beneficial to have read Haven, which is Shep's book, Zenny, and probably Rafe at the very least. Rebecca has a graphic up that she reshared on Insta where it talks about like the 3, and one of them's like Sated, which I don't think I've read. That's like one of the first books that shows up. But in Megan, a lot of characters show up from her other books. So there's like technically like 5 or 6 books you could read beforehand. You could go in without reading them, but I do think having the context of Zenny, who sets up Megan and Olin, and also having the context of Shep, who's discussed a good bit in this book, is not a bad thing. Or just go in, and if you enjoy it, make your way back through. If you somehow have not read Rafe, you need to. But anyways, Megan for me was so good. This is exactly what I want, okay? Give me the cozy fuckfest. Straight out. I want more of this in my life. I want more books that are like them exploring the relationship and then like, boom, we are just full on smut the last 30% of the book, erotica. Yes, please. Thank you. Rebecca does this so well, though. I feel like she's so talented at writing books that give me both these things in a way that a lot of authors cannot deliver. And I think that's part of why Megan has stuck with me for so long and is definitely a high. I have been so excited for Megan's book. I've been reading about her in other books for so long that finally getting it was just like a real high for me at the end of the day. I just can't get over that we finally have her book. Like we've been begging Rebecca, like her readers for ages for this book, and I just loved it. Megan's tall also and curvy, which I love to see. Even though I'm not tall, I love reading about tall girls. I'm like, that must be fun. You can reach things. But yeah, it just was such a fun book. It really does shift a lot after 70%, though. You need to know that ahead of time. But I just loved having an autistic hero who felt well researched, well put on page. I don't know Rebecca's like neurospicy, like neurotypicalness or non-neurotypicalness, but I know I felt a lot of things with him when like sometimes you just gotta remove yourself from a situation because like you're getting overstimulated. Been there. Yeah, and I freaking loved it. It was so good. Like, it was so good. Oh my god, it was so good. It was so good. I truly just had an absolute delightful time with this one. I cannot wait to see what's next in the series because we do have another book coming this summer, supposedly. And I'm excited for that book too. But yeah, I had such a good reading month in February. It was actually really hard to pick these books. Like, what was a high, what was a surprise, all that stuff. I was like struggle bussing, staring at my list for a hot minute there. So let me know in the comments your favorite read in February. If you don't want to do that, leave me a cloudy emoji. It is like so overcast and gross outside right now that I really had to motivate myself to film. So there's that. But yeah, leave me that emoji down below if you don't want to talk to me about your March or your February reading. I will have links to all of these books for you down below, as well as links to me and my friend anywhere I am on the internet, and I will talk to y'all in just a few days. Bye!
Already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be. Life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for.